Hello everybody and welcome to Freaking Effects, where I'm going to show you today how to create the Aquaman underwater look, just like this one that you can see over here. Well, not actually this one, but anyway. For making this, you will need some particles underwater footage or some slow particles, also swimming fish footage and underwater plants footage. But if you don't have them, don't worry, I will show you how to get them. So before we get to the tutorial, I have to tell you that this is inspired by the guys of Red Giant, that they already made an awesome tutorial on how to make an underwater look. And if you're asking what's the point of making a tutorial of something that already exists, the answer is that these guys, although this is an awesome tutorial, they use a lot of plugins that you have to pay for. And I guess that many of you won't have those plugins, so I'm going to show you how to make this same look without any kind of plugin at all. So also you will have to download the project files here because they give you, fish and plants footage, which they're definitely awesome to give them a more realistic look to this underwater effect. And okay, we can go to it. So I'm going to get my video over here. I'm gonna throw it into a new composition, and I'm gonna go straight to where I start moving, which is something over here. So before starting with effects, you have to know that your footage, first of all, you shouldn't have lights like electronic lights. Actually here, for example, my computer was on, but I was too lazy to turn it off. So what I did, just put this chair over here so that you couldn't see the lights of the keyboard, the mouse and everything. And also you have to move really slow because when you are underwater you actually move slow. You shouldn't move too fast because you would notice if you move fast that actually isn't filmed underwater. And also be careful when you have windows, like it's my case, so that you can see things from outside the room, like trees, moving cars or whatever, because that would totally spoil it, and you will have to do some rotoscoping, and so that wouldn't be cool. And also try to have a clean room, not like I do, because the being over here and also the stuff on the table, if it was underwater this will be floating around and so, but whatever. Alright, so we can start now. And the very first thing that we're gonna do is the very first thing that I'm gonna do is establishing the composition settings. And the video ends at 11 seconds and 23 frames. And what you should do first of all is pre-composing. Alright, you should pre-compose just in case you want to later put effects on this video or just doing whatever. And you can call this footage so that you can create your own preset with this project file or whatever. So right, we're going to now make the effect so that we can see the thing over here, the surface. For making that, we're going to duplicate our layer. We're going to go to the scale settings. We're going to uncheck this thing over here. And we're gonna put 100 by -100 so that it turns upside down. We're gonna take the position and put it up somewhere over here. We're going now to make a matte for this. So what we're gonna do is I think something over there will work okay. And now by turning it off, I'm going to create a new mask. I'm gonna use the window as a pattern for the perspective, and so here works okay. Something like that, more or less. So now if we go and turn that on, we can see more or less the thing, so that now it looks like a mirror, like if I had a mirror right at the roof of my bedroom. But as you can see here, the bed is right over here. So what we're gonna do is creating a mat here. We're gonna get a new solid. We're gonna call this surface mat, perhaps. Gonna turn that off. I'm going to turn off as well this. Now I'm gonna take here, putting it over there more or less. Turn that on, and I'm going to, oops, actually I took the wrong one. Should be this one. Okay. Now we're gonna go to our footage, to the one that is on the surface, and we're gonna select alpha matte inverted so that we can see that it doesn't affect here where is our matte. I'm going to feather it up, maybe 10 will work okay, actually less, maybe 5, so that it doesn't affect where our matte is, because this should be more close to the camera than the surface. Alright, so now we should give it some water texture, because now as you can see it looks like only a mirror. We don't want that, so we're gonna select our footage and we're gonna go to the effects and presets, and we're gonna look for turbulent displays. We're gonna be using a lot of this effect today. We want to be like to have some very little noise to give this sensation that is there's water there. So we're gonna get the amount, maybe 20, no, actually the size, we're gonna put it down, something like that, more or less. The amount, well, actually it's whatever you think like looks better. I think something like this, more or less. Complexity shouldn't be too much. And now for automatically animating this, we're gonna alt click on evolution, and we're gonna write time, this multiply symbol that I don't know how it's called, maybe 200. We're gonna click outside, and now we will see that is actually animating without us doing anything. Looks okay. Gonna turn off the sound. Now we're going to add another turbulent displays so that it has some waves, we're going now to put size down, not too much amount, maybe 20. And again, evolution, time, the strange symbol, and maybe 100 will work out okay. Should be 50 so that you can see better. Yeah, I think that works better. It's up to you, however you think it looks the coolest. So that you can see, especially over here, the waves and so. I'm gonna go with 40 and that's it. Alright, so the next thing that we want to do is creating some volumetric light, especially coming through here, through these windows. You can put the lights from whatever you want. If you have no windows in your room, you can put them just coming from the top, from the roof, with some already made footage or whatever. But I'm gonna create it from here. So what I'm gonna do for creating the foggy look, the light, we're going to duplicate the footage comp. We're gonna bring it to the top. I'm gonna get now some curves effect, and I'm gonna getting all the way down until we can only see the actual windows. And now I'm going to take the mask tool, and we're going to only take over here where the light should be coming out from. Should be over here. We do want to keep this. Over here as well. Alright, awesome. And actually, you know what? Actually, we can just cut also this part over here. Over here, and that's it. And now you should have only the part of the window where the light should be coming from. Now we put this to add mode, and there shouldn't be much difference when you turn it on and off. And now we're going to add a CC radial fast blur, and we're gonna get the center and put it maybe from here. And whenever you put the center is when the light is where the light is going to come from. So I'm going to put a higher amount. This is again up to you, up to how you want your image, your scene to look. I think I'm gonna keep it something like that. I think it looks nice like that. Maybe put just a little bit less of opacity, maybe 90% or even 80, so that it doesn't look too bright. Oops. 80. Yeah, something like that. It must be okay. And now, because we are underwater, we should have some kind of texture. This shouldn't be just a straight line like we can see here. It should have some kind of turbulent displays like the one that we have on our surface. And for making this, we're gonna take some fractal noise. Well, actually, we're going to create a new solid, and we're gonna call this fractal noise texture. Maybe we're gonna take a fractal noise, and we're going to hit on alt click on evolution again, time, symbol. I really have to learn how it's called. Time. I think something like that is okay. And now we're going to put this on Lumamat. So now we can see that there's this texture, but it doesn't look alright. So we're going now to edit it a little bit. I'm going to put less contrast so that you can barely see it. I think something like that will work out. Yeah, that looks nice. Cool, so the next thing that we're gonna do now is adding some particles effect to this scene, because you know underwater you can see some slight bubbles and so. And you can use a lot of plugins for this, but because we're using no plugins in this tutorial, I'll just show you. If you go right to YouTube and you type underwater particles footage, there's one that I found, that is this one, just the very first one, called Dust Particles Free Footage 08, that if you download it, it will perfectly fit into our scene. That's what I'm gonna do. Well, I already downloaded, so the only thing I have to do is coming here and putting it in our scene. And it starts a little bit over here, the video. Alright, and because we want to, you know, this is thing to do is just putting it on screen mode, but I don't like how this looks, because what this actually does is, you know, brighten the areas where the white is. We're going to take a shift channels effect to get rid of the black spots. And we're gonna take alpha from luminance, and this way you get rid of the black. You can also use the unmults effect, but I don't know, I like this one. And if you want it to be brighter, you can just take curves, put it over the shift channels effect, just put it a little bit up, and you can have all the, you know, particles and so, without brightening up your scene, which is really cool. Alright, so now we're going to make some texture, because, you know, it's very typical, especially if there's light, to see this kind of moving underwater texture. For creating that, we're going to create a new solid again. We're gonna call this underwater texture, and we're gonna use the fractal noise. Drop it there. We're going to evolution again, alt click. We're gonna put time 200. That will work out. And we want to give this more kind of a look like a water texture, so we're gonna go and add a CC vector blur, and we have to hang the amount of everything, not too much, something like this. Also the rich smoothness, maybe map softness a little bit, so that, you know, so that it looks like the water effect. I think this looks really nice. And now we're gonna get our ellipse tool, gonna put it over here, something like that. I'm going to feather it up just like that, and so that it doesn't happen the thing that is happening to me. This is because I have a color layer. You will have to keep it selected and go to layers, solid settings, just make it black, and that's it. And you will have now to put it on screen mode, and I'm going to add curves because I think that's too bright. Put it down something like this, and now we have a pretty cool texture, underwater texture, and you can put this literally whatever you want. If you don't have this surface over here, you can put it maybe on the roof, but I think I'm gonna put it just on the floor. So I'm going to toggle switches, I'm gonna activate the 3D layer, and I'm going to rotate it here, and I'm going to put it right there on the floor. Scale it down maybe a little bit. Now I'm going to adjust it. Shouldn't do it this way. This is the, you know, cheap way of doing it. You should actually take this and make the matte over here, but, you know, I just want to make this really quick to show you. Alright, so what I'm doing right now is basically making a very quick rotoscope so that the water texture doesn't affect my foot, but yeah, you can skip this if you don't want to. Alright, so I just finished my very bad and quickly made rotoscope so that you can see how this affects, but anyway, I think it looks really cool, and, you know, you can put this around the walls and the roof and whatever the light is supposed to be hitting, but, you know, just make sure to not doing what I did here and creating an actually well-made rotoscope. I'm actually going to just check this part over here out. Just going to put this to subtract, feather wrap, and that's it. So right after having this cool texture in our scene, the next thing that we should be making is making some fish, you know, adding some life to our underwater scene. For making this, you will need the footage that I already showed you before. I have it here downloaded already, so you will have to go to the folder, click on the very first image, make sure that you check PNG sequence, and click on import. Now, when you have it in your After Effects project, you will have to right click, interpret footage, and main. I work at 25 frames per second, so you will have to check how many frames per second do you work with. And I'm going to put the loop actually 10 times so that we can have it infinite looping. So okay, we're going to add it over there. I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller, something like that. And this fish actually moves pretty slow. So you can see it has a very slow movement, and I'm going to make it move quicker. So I'm going to right click, go to time stretch, maybe 30. That's it. Well, it makes some strange things actually. Maybe that's too much. I'm going to just keep it on 50. Alright, that's it. Now I'm going to, you know, you can put as many fishes as you want, but I'm going to make a very quick animation just to show you. So I'm going to put the fish coming from here, go to position, hit there, and actually I'm going to make it something over here so that it doesn't start at the very beginning of our scene. So here the second 4, and until here more or less, that it moves to the end of the scene. So we're gonna check that out. I think that goes at a nice speed. If you want, you can turn the motion blur here and here so that you have some blur, although this one goes pretty fast and you cannot see almost the difference. Well, yeah, actually you do. So I'm going to delete here. And now, the cool part. Whenever there's movement under the water, there are always bubbles coming out. And you will have to add some bubbles to this. And for making that, we're going to add a new solid. Once again, we're gonna call this bubbles particles, maybe. We're gonna add a CC particle systems to effect, and you'll want to take this to bring it to the very beginning over here. Oops. And you want to take the, where's it here, at producer, you want to take the center and put it right here, hit there, the position keyframe. I'm gonna go way after the fish has gone, to just put it somewhere over here more or less. And I'm going to check that is properly situated. No, that was definitely too much. So I'm gonna go now to the bubbles position, particle system here, the producer. Okay, so there's where it should be. And now, I had some struggle to make this look like some realistic bubbles, but I found more or less, a formula, let's say, that it looks nice. So we're gonna put, first of all, the birth rate. We're gonna set it at 1. Then longevity, it's okay at 2, I think. We can go to the physics here. We're gonna put the animation, we're gonna put it on direction. Velocity, very low value, something like that, 2. Inherent velocity is right 0. The gravity, we want to keep it at 0 because in the water, there's no gravity, but bubbles should be going a little bit up. So because we want a very slow movement to the top of our scene, we're gonna put minus 0.01 so that very slowly it goes up like this. We can see over here. Heart velocity 0%. Resistance. We're gonna leave it 0. This okay, extra. Don't mind about that. So we go to particle. Going down, we have here a bubble, although these are some pretty big bubbles, so the size we're gonna put it 0.02, and the depth size we're gonna make it 0.1. So yeah, something like that. Size variation, up to you, honestly. This you could fade out. I want actually less opacity, so I'm gonna put it 20% so that it's a very subtle thing that we can see. And of course the color, we set it to white. And now we can see here on a scene when our fish is moving that he's producing some pretty cool bubbles until he gets out of the scene, which is over here. Yeah, that's okay. So right, the next thing that we want to do is creating now some plants, giving it more life, but before, we don't want this to be right over here, so I'm gonna duplicate my footage. Maybe you don't have to do this, but I have to, so I'm just going to duplicate and select this over here, more or less. Okay, and over here, because we want the fish to go behind the wood over there, and that should be it. And now both our fish and our bubbles are going to pass behind these things that we're gonna have here. I'm going to feather wrap. 10 is definitely too much. 5 will work out. That's it. Awesome. And now, yes, we're going to add some plants. And actually, you know what? I think that when the fish is over this area, it's like, I don't know, it's too bright, I think. So I'm just going to very quickly add a levels effect. Till the fish is right there. So I'm gonna give the levels to him. Click there. Go to the end, something over here. On the input white, I'm going to turn it up. Something like that, more or less. Yeah, that looks way better to me. And now, for the third time, we're going to add the plants. So again, we double click here to import them. We go to plants. I'm gonna take this slow because we are underwater and we have 4 different plants. So again, go to the first one, make sure that you check PNG sequence, go to import, and now this is 100% definitely up to you, to how you want. Well, actually, I'm going to third-party footage, main, 25, and loop 10 times, so that we have an infinite looping image. And now what I'm doing is very quickly placing my plants, because this is really up to you, and you can just make sure that whenever there's a thing that should be in front of your plant, just make a mat to it, and that's basically it. So whenever you're done, we continue with the tutorial. Alright, so I already finished with adding plants to my scene, and I think this is already looking pretty cool. So the next thing that we're gonna do now is blurring a little bit the edges, because this is one thing that I realized from the Aquaman movie, that the edges when underwater are all pretty blurry. So what we're gonna do now is adding a new adjustment layer at the top of the scene. We're gonna add a Gaussian blur effect. Add it over here. Take the blurriness up. And we're gonna double click on our ellipse tool here, putting it on subtract mode, and just feathering all the way up. Something like this, so that we can see that at the edges they are pretty blurry. Make sure that you actually click on repeat each pixel so that Also the edges, and I'm actually gonna put less blur, maybe something like 30. Yes, yeah, definitely something like that will work out better. And also we're going to now add a very slight vignette. I don't know if I say that properly. So we're gonna add a new solid, and we're gonna select that blue that I had selected before. Okay. Gonna put it at the top of our composition, and again double click here, subtract, and we're gonna put this on, oh, here, toggle switches, multiply. Going to feather it up, maybe 50, and now by holding Control, I'm going to put it wherever I want. I think something over here will work out okay. And I think actually I should feather it way up to something like this. Yeah, now it looks better. Actually, I'm gonna put it more like this, so that, you know, so that the edges of this scene are a little bit more darkened, so that you have to focus on right what is right inside of the scene. And okay, now we're going to proceed with the look, and we're gonna add a new adjustment layer. And now it would be really awesome if you had Video Copilot's plugin called Heat Distortion. That will work perfectly for this one. But if you don't worry. We can just add again the turbulent displace effect. And we're going to put the amount, maybe something like 10. And we're gonna click on, alt-click on evolution, time, I think 100 for this one. I think maybe 15 size. Maybe less, maybe 25. An amount, maybe 5 will be alright. Just a very quick distortion, so that instead of totally straight, it has some kind of turbulence. I think 7 will work out alright. Alright, so now we have to add an underwater look, and you know, when you're underwater there's always this kind of bluish tone, so we're gonna add some curves for achieving that. There are multiple ways of making this. Actually, you can use probably one of these day to night presets or anything like that, but I'm just going to first of all take the red curve and take it all the way down, and we already have here cool effect, and also the green just a little bit. Take the blue up. Actually, I'm gonna take the green, put it a little bit more up. Oops, wasn't moving it. This is up to you also, to how you want it to be, and I think this is all right, more or less. And now you can, you know, add maybe a glow or something like that to make it more stylish. But the next thing that we're gonna do now is pre-composing the whole thing. So you'll have to select all your layers and go to right click, pre-compose, and we're going to call this underwater effect. And now we're gonna use camera shake effect, because when you're underwater there's always this kind of shaky camera always. And for making that, we're going to add a new layer, object, sorry. We're going to parent the scene to the null, and we're gonna go to the position of null, alt click on position, and we're going to type wiggle, open brackets, and we're gonna put a high number like 50, comma, and I don't know, 1. And I think that I put it wrongly. Yes, I did. It's just the opposite, sorry. It's 1, 50. Yeah, so that it makes a big move and the whole scene moves with it. Can put it actually even slower, 0.5, and we can just take the scale up. Actually, that's too much. I think 105 will work out. And we already have wiggle. And now if you want, you can add even more effects. Maybe you can take a CC lens blur. No CC lens blur. CC lens effect, just like that. You can add it to your precomposition, and it's kind of freezing because it has a lot of effects. All the footages, the bubbles, the particles, and everything. I just hope it doesn't crash now. Alright, so we can take this and put the size all the way up. Put it something like this over there, more or less, so that it gives the feel that you're like inside a bubble, something like that. Maybe you can put less, something like this would work out. Alright, and now what we can do is also duplicating this a couple of times, making the RGB split, because that's a thing that we very commonly see on the underwater effects. So we're gonna take the shift channels effect, drop it in all 3 of them. I said on all 3 of them. Okay, I can't, I don't know why, but anyway. So we're gonna go red full off, green full off, red full off, blue full off. At the 3rd one, green full off and blue full off. And now we can just scale it up a little bit, maybe 106 and this 107. So that was basically it, and I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial and that you find it helpful somehow. If you didn't, maybe you will have learned some cool new stuff about After Effects, and if you didn't, I don't mind, you already watched the full video. So anyway, I hope that you really leave a like and a comment if you find this helpful, and that you subscribe to my channel, and that you tell me if there's anything else that you would like to know about After Effects, about any kind of effect that you saw in a movie, whatever. Just let me know in the comments below.